Join us on Bright Founders Talk by Temi with our next guest, Madeleine Blanchard, Chief Coaching Architect of the Ken Blanchard Companies, as she delves into the highs and lows of the competitive business world, from the challenges of striving to be first without any of the adequate resources to the cutthroat nature of business. Madeleine shares with us her first-hand experiences and valuable lessons learned. Explore how her organisations have weathered turbulent times from 9/11 to the pandemic, emerging stronger and more adaptable, and discover why she says an indicator of success is when you're being sued. Tune in to some thought-provoking discussions from the business battlefield with Madeleine. Hello guys, and welcome back to Bright Founders Talk from Temi, an international software development company that designs, builds and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Today, guys, we've got with us a really interesting guest. I'm really glad to have her on today, Madeleine Blanchard from the Ken Blanchard Companies. Madeleine, how are you this morning? I hear it's early doors your side.
It's a beautiful day.
Beautiful day. Good. Madeleine just said before we went on air, it's 8 a.m. her side. She's used to getting up at 5:30 in the morning, which is something I definitely wouldn't want to do. So I'm glad it's you, Madeleine, instead of me. Right. So the Ken Blanchard Companies, guys, just a little bit before we get started, it's the global leader in management training. For nearly 40 years, the Blanchard company has been creating the best managers in the world, training over 150,000 people each year. I'm not sure if that figure has increased or decreased recently, but we will go into this more detail as we speak today in this podcast. Madeleine, I'm going to throw some opening questions at you to get to know you a little bit more and to get to know a little bit about your past as well, the recent past, let's go for. So, opening questions, fill in the blanks for me, Madeleine. In 2022, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that our company was going to survive the global pandemic.
Interesting.
At the beginning of 22. By the end of 22, we thought, we're actually going to survive. And in fact, we were better than ever.
So 2022 was more a rocky year than 2021?
No. 2021 was terrifying.
Okay. I can imagine. Good. Okay, well, at least it's better than you even predicted, yeah? So it came out the other side better than it could have been. When I started out, I believed, but now I don't.
I believed that having a great idea and being first would translate into success.
What do you mean by being first? Being first to do something? Being first out of the blocks?
Yeah. Being the first to do something. I really thought that would translate into success. And what I learned is that being too early, there's no prize for that. Because essentially what happens is other people who maybe have more investment money than you do, see the idea and say, oh, wow, that's a great idea. We should do that. And they can leapfrog, the small shop with the great idea. And there was so much more education of our customer base than I had anticipated. I thought everyone saw what I saw. That was not true. They do now, so that's good. But our big idea was to democratize coaching. And there's a new company coming online pretty much weekly these days saying, oh, we're democratizing coaching like it's a new idea. And we literally had the first business plan that said that back in 1999. And there's no prize for that. The software we created needed really strong bandwidth. And not all of our potential customers had that bandwidth yet. So we just, we made a lot of mistakes.
How did you deal with that then?
Here.
You are still here, definitely. How did you deal with that? Obviously coming out of the blocks first, but realizing you hadn't actually got the power to push it through. What did you have to do?
Well, we just never stopped. So we weren't married then. We are married now, but my partner, Scott Blanchard, and I started coaching.com in 1999. And then we were just kind of wheels up and really getting our legs under us when 9/11 happened. It really impacted the business world in myriad ways. And it turned out our first really big customer, where we were going to go broad and deep, and was going to be our first big success story, was a company called WorldCom, which is often mentioned in the same breath as Enron. They did not survive. It was awful and terrifying, and we thought we were going to lose the whole thing. And we were acquired by the Ken Blanchard companies because they didn't offer coaching at all. So we kind of were acquired. We went from 3 employees to 19 employees back to 7, and 7 of us went into the Ken Blanchard companies to start the coaching practice for the Ken Blanchard companies.
Wow.
So we were, we were rescued essentially.
I mean, those years were very turbulent. They were extremely turbulent over those, I don't know, maybe, well, really 10 years from 1999 and 10 years onwards, no? Tell me,
tough years.
Next one, I wish I never.
Boy, it's really hard to choose among the options that are all jumping up saying, choose me, choose me. I took a big detour, again, with my husband. We share this entrepreneurial madness. In 2008, we started a company with partners to create completely asynchronous kind of learning and content management system, kind of an LCMS, as it were. There were a lot of LMSs at the time, but it was kind of the beginning of the LCMS, which is a way to manage content and learning assets inside of organizations. And we started it with partners, lovely people, don't get me wrong. We just did not share the same fundamental values. We thought we did. We wanted to think we did. We were all kind of in love with each other. And I personally overlooked some red flags that I shouldn't have. It didn't end well. We literally spent about $4 million of our own money and the Ken Blanchard companies is a family-owned business, so the family's money. And that was it. It was extremely painful. And the biggest learning, and I walked around for 2 years beating myself up over this. And I'd like to think I'll never do it again. But I knew early on that we were making a mistake partnering with this particular group. And I said it a few times. Like I said, hey, thinking maybe this isn't such a good idea. This is a red flag. I think maybe, and honestly, in retrospect, I wish I had just said, you know what?
No. This is
I don't think we should do this. And I feel so strongly about it that if you want to keep going with, other people, it's up to you, but I'm out.
Why didn't you?
I really
Madeleine?
wish I'd done that. I didn't have the confidence in my own judgment. I just didn't. I thought, oh gosh, other people think this is such a good idea. Other people I respect, that they must be right. They must be right. I must be Chicken Little. I'm sorry, that's such an American thing. It's like the character that runs around, oh, the sky is falling,
I remember.
I didn't want to be that person. I didn't trust myself. And you know what's interesting? I had a mastermind group for a long time, and it just so happened we were all women. And when we started it, I asked every woman in the group what was their biggest regret. And to a person, and I don't know if it's women, I don't know if it's a gender thing. I suspect there might be something there. To a person, every single regret was a version of, I didn't trust my own knowing. I didn't have the courage of my own convictions. And I went along with something that I knew was not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, really interesting.
And yeah, I'd like to think I'll never do it again.
I mean, it's one of those things that hopefully you wouldn't, because obviously you got the experience to know now you can listen to that voice a little bit more. You hear that voice, and that voice wouldn't just be something you push to the back. It'll be something that really, the red flag will be a red flag this time. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question for you. Success. What does it mean for you?
It means being able to do useful and relevant work with people who share not the same values, but values that are close enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that means customers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes we start getting involved with customers. I have said many times, I'm not sure we should do business with these people. I don't think it's going to end well. And sometimes we actually step away from the business. It's very hard. Our salespeople, oh my gosh, they hate it when I do that.
I can imagine.
Because they want the sale, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I'm like, it's gonna cost us more to fulfill on this business than we'll ever make.
This year, 2023, January, wait, is it February today? Let me just double check. So February, when the second month of the year. What is 2023 going to be for you? This year is going to be. We are really interested in expanding our reach. The way we used to reach, say, the consumer market was through books, right? I've written a few books. Ken's written a million books. The one big thing I really learned in 21, 22 is nobody reads anymore. Very hard for me to get that, like internalize that, because I'm such a reader and I will always be a reader, because people don't talk fast enough for me to stay interested. And that's just the truth. And I can read so fast. I grew up reading. I didn't grow up with TV. Anyway, so we need to find a way to have apps, subscriptions, podcasts, like you are so cleverly making, so that we can reach and spread our really great ideas to more and more people, and to the younger folks, who have a different way of getting information. Have you started these? Have you started the kind of the apps and the podcasts? I've obviously seen that you've got podcasts on your sites as well, but have you started this way of kind of interacting even more so?
It's all a work in progress. We have now a subscription for people who are already customers. So that was kind of our first level of going at that. And we're about to launch in the spring a kind of subscription. There will be a free version and then a subscription app for consumers, for just the individual consumer out there. And other than with books, we've never really been successful at getting to the consumer market. So yes, we've started it.
We'll go back to this in a little bit. Because this is interesting.
Yeah.
So I've
And
seen you've
then,
started using a lot of technology now. Yeah, you've got a lot of your technology
oh,
ways of kind of enhancing everything that you were doing. We will speak about this in a second, but before we do, I want to just you're talking obviously there about Ken a lot, and a family-run business. Yeah, so a family-run business. What How do you make a family-run business successful? This is one of the things that I can't imagine. Sitting around the table at Christmas, what is there a rule to no work at the table? How does it work? And what has kind of like, how has it looked to you?
well, and the crazy thing about this family, and I'm an in-law, right? So I married in, but not only do we all work together, but we vacation together.
Wow.
I know. I know. So that will tell you there is, I mean, we really like each other. So that's number one. Number two is very early on, and this is way before I joined, they hired a family business consultant out of Wharton, a guy named John Eldred, genius, brilliant guy. And he helped them to create a framework to work together. So there's something called the Family Council, and we meet every quarter, and we have a facilitator, and we work very hard to put the agenda together. And we talk about the issues, all the issues that come up with working together and co-ownership and behavior and expectations. And what's really interesting now is we have generation 3. We have one, the daughter of our CEO started working at the company about a year and a half ago, and she's crushing it. And then we have another one of our kids joining in a few weeks. So
Wow.
the plot thickens. But I hear that a lot. I could never work with my husband, sister, mother, whatever. And there is such a high standard for behavior and what is allowed and what is out of bounds. And we spend a lot of time processing, and it can be really tedious. But that's what it takes, I think. It's what it takes. You can't suppress a lot of stuff. You can't step over a lot of stuff. We have to talk everything through.
These young generation, third generations coming in, and not changing the company, but bringing the company forwards into the future. Do you see that this is the future for companies, where they need to use and utilize these young people that actually get TikTok, they get how to work all these social medias, instead of a 60-year-old whatever who's been doing it the way for the last 20-30 years, who doesn't understand these things? Because I'm 28, and I just missed that curve of TikTok. I don't really know how to use it so much. I have to get my 20-year-old friends to show me how to use it. Do you think these young people, they are the future, and they need to be in these seats of basically decision making?
The young people, of course, are the future. The young people have always been the future, right? And I think the real success of any company will come from the 60-year-olds who have some wisdom, some experience, hard won, right? And the 40-year-olds who have some life experience and some wisdom, hopefully. When you asked, what's 2023 for you, I talked about the company, but one of the things I'm working on myself is I've been writing this blog. It's an advice column.
I've seen, I like really these, by the way. They are very, very fun, some of them.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I've been doing it for 6 years, one blog a week, 50 weeks a year.
Wow.
I know. But I actually get my own need met, because as a coach, it's not the job of a coach to give advice. So there's so much advice that I don't give and I can't give, because that's not the job of a coach. So it's an outlet for me. And it's really fun. I mean, what's more fun than giving advice, right? But I'm also very clear that nobody reads anymore. Obviously you do, but most people don't. So I actually invited a bunch of the kids in the company, people under 30s, to come and brainstorm with me of how can we get useful, relevant, interesting, fun information out there, because it's content marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Edutainment. In a way that will attract your peers. So we've been talking about this for a while. I'm very uncomfortable with it because, you know, you have to be on video. Like, really? I need better lighting. I need a professional makeup person. And everybody's wearing these headphones, right? I'm like, why? Do you have to wear those headphones? The answer is actually no, from what I understand. And they're really excited and they have great ideas, and they are going to shape this next version of what I've been doing. And you know what? It's going to be much more inclusive. I often will go to experts to shape my advice that I give, but this will be different. This will be inviting a lot of people, maybe some experts, but also some young people who have really good insights about what's going on in the workplace and really great stories.
You know, you put that on TikTok or YouTube, and that will kick off. For example, there was one that I was reading, and it was about someone messaged you and said, I am getting told to smile a lot at work, resting bitch face, basically, that she has. And it turns out it was a man that was telling her to smile a lot of the time. And she said, it's just my face. It doesn't mean anything. And, you know, these are things that's so relatable. And that's what I like about your blog. It is so relatable. And even your replies are so real. And as you said, it's your way to kind of address the situation as well, and to put that onto a social media platform, one of these kind of like TikTok or something, I think it would kick off. I think it would really, really go really well, because I read it and I laugh. To see it in the form of facial reactions, even better, even funnier. So for sure.
Well, your lips to God's ears, you know, I hope so. But honestly, I couldn't do it without the young people.
For sure.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Because I'm just going to look like an idiot. They're going to help. And I think it will be a platform to invite the voices of this new generation.
Yeah, for sure. Very, very interesting.
Important. They have a lot to say.
I'm going to keep my eye out for that, because if I enjoyed your blog, I definitely will enjoy that in video form. Tell me just a few more questions here. Tell me, what is the Ken Blanchard company's philosophy? What is your philosophy that you work at?
It's essentially, it's that being a leader is a huge responsibility. And if you're trying to do it without developing your own wisdom and compassion and yourself, growing yourself and being a role model for growth mindset, for your own development, you really can't hope to lead others, certainly not to inspire followership.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I mean, that's it. And there's models and tools. There are ways to do things that work. And then there's ways to grow yourself that make you someone that people are going to want to follow.
It does feel like we've reached that. We've reached that kind of stage where, you know, we've gone through the, okay, it's all about business, business, business and success. And now it's becoming about the person and the personality behind the business. And as we said earlier, people are buying into that, and that's what makes it thrive. People want to know, especially now we're doing everything online. It creates that distance, which then makes people want more. They want to know more. Tell me, last question here. For our audience, what is it you want the audience to take away from this conversation, from our podcast today, about what you're doing at Ken Blanchard's companies? What is it you would like them to understand, which you are doing, which perhaps other people aren't doing?
I think it's the marrying of the practical and the proven results. And we have the research to back it up, with the harnessing the heart and how to bring the heart into getting things done. Everyone needs to get things done.
Nice.
Yeah.
Madeleine, very nice. And that's why you get up at 5:30 in the morning and get it done. Nice, Madeleine. Thank you very much for coming on the show today. It's been really amazing to pick your brain. And what I want you to do, keep us all posted about these new adventures in the video form. I definitely want to see these coming out soon. Thank you very much, Madeleine.
Yeah, I'm really psyched. Thanks.